Hey everyone, today we're breaking down the best song by every band that I hate. Before we start, all jokes aside, I do not care enough to truly hate any band. Listen to whatever makes you happy. I don't care what music people listen to, you shouldn't care what music people listen to, and none of our opinions mean anything. Just wanted to get that out of the way before we start. Also, we're going to order this list. It's going to start from the best song from the worst band to the worst best song by the worst band. That makes sense, right? No! Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so a lot of bands in this video are going to be total low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to start this off with a more controversial pick, and that's going to be the Foo Fighters. A lot of people are going to hate me for this one, but I've always considered Foo Fighters pretty much as creative as Nickelback, except they don't get nearly as much hate. In fact, I feel like they barely have any haters at all. Everyone seems to love them, but I just find their music to be pretty generic. However, there are a few standout tracks for me, the best of which I would say is Rope. When it comes to my music taste, I often tend to prefer songs and albums that are earlier in a band's catalog, but this one's actually an exception. This is off of their 2011 album Wasting Light, one of their relatively more recent albums. I think my favorite part about the song is the drumming. The drum fills are fantastic throughout the entire song. So as I mentioned earlier, I put this song first because it's the best song that will be mentioned in this video. It's only going to go downhill from here, guys. Next, we have 21 Pilots, and now that I think about it, this one's probably going to be pretty controversial too. Although, to be fair, I gotta say, after doing my research for this video, these guys aren't nearly as bad as I thought they were. I still firmly believe some of their bigger songs are just really bad, but perhaps that clouded my judgment a bit and made it a little bit unfair. But anyway, still not a big fan of them, that's why they're in this video. But I do have to pick a song. And my pick for best song is going to be Shy Away, which they actually released this year. Going back to my point about the Foo Fighters, it's pretty rare that I pick one of the more recent efforts by a band, but we're seeing the first two entries in this list do so. And this is actually a pretty decent track, which is obviously why I placed it this early in the video. I don't know if any of you guys listen to the band Phoenix, but the sound of this song actually kind of reminds me of them. It was also interesting to see the progression of sound between all the different 21 Pilots albums. It was cool to see. Now let's talk about Maroon 5. I've always found most of their stuff to be pretty boring, and then the song Sugar when it came out is just downright annoying. I also really don't like Adam Levine's voice at all. And for best song choice, I was about to go with Sunday Morning, but then I found the track Harder to Breathe, and I really liked the second chorus where they add this like distorted falsetto backing vocal line, and I was like, damn, that actually sounds pretty good. It's such a simple formula, but any song where each version of the chorus adds something new just works really well for me. Also, Maroon 5 has been around a while. Like, these songs are from 2002 that I'm talking about, and they're still big today in 2021. I'm curious to see how long they'll last. And for anyone who's more familiar with this band from having their songs from the last 5 years or so kind of shoved down your throat, you might actually enjoy their old stuff a bit. It's not too bad. Next, you know I had to include Nickelback on this list. The cringeworthy lyrics, every song sounding the same, the arrogance of the band members. Wait a minute. But for any kid who grew up in Canada around the same time I did, these guys were everywhere. They were huge. Also, I swear, their song If Everyone Cared, every time in elementary school where a guest speaker came to do some sort of inspirational presentation, they would always use this song in the background. Is it just me or did anyone else find that as well? Now, having said all this, it's only fair for me to get off my high horse and come clean. I had a Nickelback phase. I think I was in grade 4 when I went out of my way to buy this album. And yes, we used to buy albums. Physical albums. Anyway, for the best song pick for them, I'm gonna go with Rockstar because it almost feels like it's more self-aware and intentionally goofy than their other tracks. Now let's go over Theory of a Dead Man. So I remember back in the day, Theory of a Dead Man was always described as a poor man's Nickelback, which is pretty much the worst label you can possibly have. My pick for their best song is gonna be their 2005 track, Santa Monica. And for anyone who's new to this song, if you search it up now, you'll probably look it up and be like, Mike, this is a very generic, bland song. I don't know why you're picking this. And I can't argue with you, you're right. I just have a personal bias towards this song because this is one of the first songs I remember downloading as a kid off of iTunes, and putting on my very first iPod Nano. It's so crazy to think about how cool and modern and high-tech iPods were back in the day, and now they're just useless pieces of crap. Crazy. Now let's talk about an absolute staple of a band on this YouTube channel. You probably know who it's gonna be. And that band is Imagine Dragons. In terms of why they made this list, I think I've talked about their flaws enough on this channel throughout the years, and their music kind of speaks for itself. But to thank you guys for showing up to this video today, I put myself through blood, sweat, tears, and blood to find a song by this band that I like. And the song I ended up choosing is called It's Time. There's nothing really groundbreaking or special about this song. It still uses the same 1-5-6-4 chord progression that pretty much every pop song does. But it's a decent pop song. It's catchy without being too redundant or annoying. And you know what? For a band like this, I am more than happy with that. Also, interesting to note that I often see comments about this band like, no, they're not a bad band, you just have to listen to their old stuff. And well, hey, I gave their old stuff a chance, and the song I chose was from their first album, so you were kind of right. Next, we have Limp Bizkit, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be arguing with me on this one. First of all, this band is the only band on the list with a worse name than the last band that we're going to talk about, so stick around for that. Also, this has nothing to really do with the video, but as I was re-listening to their tracks to make this video, hearing the song Generation and hearing about how Gen X is coming through, so watch out, it feels so funny to listen to today, and it makes the song feel really old. So for the best song, we're going to go with Nookie. Not a great song at all, but it has a few redeeming qualities. Mainly the fact that the bass line is so fat in this song. It actually really cuts through the mix well, and it sounds really good to listen to production-wise, in my opinion. Actually, to be honest, the instrumentals in the song in general are pretty good. It's just the vocals that are awful and make the song so bad. Having said that, it is the best song that I can find by them. So now we have 3 bands left to talk about, working our way down to the worst best song by the worst band. Number 3 is going to be Hollywood Undead. Unfortunately, this is a band I used to listen to a lot when I was in like 9th grade. And looking back now, it's pretty rough. There's this huge like try-hard wannabe alpha male vibe in all of their songs, which is pretty cringe. But to be fair, in their defense, I've never really watched many of their interviews, and if you're a fan of this band, let me know in the comments below, but maybe they're doing this all ironically. I kind of get the vibe that they're not, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I have to choose a best song. So this is tough, because I wouldn't really want to listen to any of their songs now, but if I had to choose, I'm going to choose a song that I did like back in the day, and that one's called Bullet. The one cool thing about this song is it has this juxtaposition between the composition and the lyrics. The song's dark subject matter really contrasts the song's cheery vibe, although not a song I'm going to go out of my way to listen to anytime soon. Now let's discuss 5 Seconds of Summer. So there's something about this band that makes them so much more unlikable to me than a similar type of band like One Direction or something. Instinctively, I want to say it's the fact that other bands kind of accept their pop, or this is a band that's pop pretending that they're a rock band. But then again, I realize I'm contradicting myself because I've always talked about how genre classification is stupid and who cares what genre something is, so I don't really know. Or maybe it's not that deep. Maybe it's just their horrible lyrics, like, "You look so perfect standing there in my American Apparel underwear." Now for the best of their tracks, I mean, Wildflower is bearable. It's not good. I wouldn't listen to it deliberately, but it's decent, I guess. You might look it up and not agree, but hey, I tried my best, okay? This was a tough task. Finally, we have number 1, Broken Inside. Although I wasn't too familiar with their music, Broken Inside is a band name that I was very familiar with because number 1, it was a horrible name, and number 2, I always remember seeing their name on all of the worst band lists. This was by far the most difficult challenge in this entire video. Like, guys, this was rough. Phenomenon was the only song that didn't make me hate myself. Is it good? No, it's bad. It's very bad. But this was the best I could do. I hope you guys give me the respect I deserve for taking time out of my day to listen to Broken Inside. Also, on second thought, if you're ever in a situation where you're forced to listen to a Broken Inside song, I think the smart answer would be to choose the song Let's Dance. It's their shortest song I could find at 2 minutes and 35 seconds, so your misery ends relatively quickly. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as I mentioned earlier, despite the fact that I'm a licensed high-quality music critic, listen to whatever makes you happy. Don't care about my opinions. As long as you're having a high-quality time, that's what matters. See ya.